Right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today what we're going to talk about is standard form. Standard form is another way to write a linear equation. Now here's the thing, I want to make sure it's clear. Standard form forms a straight line when you guys are talking about drawing a line. It's just like slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b in that fact. But when you look at it, it really has nothing to do with slope-intercept form. So, ax plus by is equal to c. A, b, and c are all integers. There is no y-intercept or any slope up here. You're not looking for that. Okay. The only thing that's similar is the x and the y. That means the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate of a point. Okay. So when we talk about standard form, it's just another way to write a linear equation. Right. Again, we're talking about a rate of change that is constant. Okay. We're talking about a straight line. It's just a different way to write it. What we're going to talk about is how to actually graph an equation using standard form. Now, if you notice the first problem, 2x minus 3y is equal to 12. Now, one of the questions you need to ask yourself, we have to draw a line. Well, how many points do you need to draw a line? Well, the answer to that is 2. As long as you have 2 points, you can draw the equation of a line. When we look at this, x-intercept, y-intercept, we've talked about those. Remember, the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. One of the things we talked about was at the x-intercept, the y-coordinate is 0. So no matter what point you pick on here, the y-coordinate will be 0 on the x-intercept. The y-intercept that we talked about, any point on this y-axis, the x-coordinate is 0. Right? We're going to use that fact to be able to solve for the x and y-intercept. If you find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, that's 2 points. As long as you have 2 points, you can draw a line through those 2 points to create the line of that equation. So to start with, first thing we're going to look at, 2x minus 3y is equal to 12. If we're looking for the x-intercept, knowing that the y-coordinate on every single point there is 0, we can use that fact in this equation. Instead of writing a y, since we know it's 0, we put a 0 in there. Well, as you guys know, negative 3 times 0 is 0. So, what's left? 2x equals 12. And as you guys have learned from before, divide both sides by 2, x equals 6. So in this problem, the x-intercept is 6, 0. Now, move on from that, let's look at the y-intercept. The y-intercept, again, is where the line crosses the y-axis. We know that the x-coordinate should be 0 at that point. So, to find the y-intercept, instead of writing an x, we can write a 0. 2 times 0, 0, it's gone. So now we just have negative 3y is equal to 12. Divide both sides by negative 3, y is equal to negative 4. So your y-intercept is at 0, negative 4. Now, graph it. Plot the point. 6, 0. Plot the point. 0, negative 4. Draw a line through them. There you go. You just drew a line from the equation 2x minus 3y is equal to 12. Find the x and the y-intercept, you can do that. Alright. Next, graph the equation 5x plus 2y is equal to 12. Same idea. For this one, again, x-intercept, y-coordinate is going to be 0. For the y-intercept, x-coordinate is going to be 0. Now, if you notice up there, I have a hand up there. It's for an actual reason. We have a method that we call the cover-up method that might make this easier for you when you're trying to figure out what's left after you eliminated something. On the x-intercept, when you think about it, the y-coordinate is going to be 0. So, think about this. Any number you multiply times 0 is going to be, well, 0. So, anytime you do that, you're going to get rid of that term. So what you can do is instead of just writing a 0 in there, we can just cover that up because you know 2 times 0 is going to be 0. So if you look at this now, all that's left is the 5x and the 20. So you've got 5x equals 20. Now just solve it. Divide both sides by 5, x equals 4. There you go. Same idea with the x-intercept. Now, knowing that the y-coordinate or the y-intercept, Notice the x coordinate is going to be 0. 5 times 0 is going to be 0, so that's gone. So all you have left is just 2y is equal to 20. Divide both sides by 2, y equals 10. So again, we now have both points. Plot the point 4, 0. Plot the point 0, 10. Draw a line through them. You now have the line for 5x plus 2y is equal to 20. Alright. So, that's with the graphic. I want to take a look at these two. These are probably the toughest things you got to do today. In this problem, what you're going to do, given the equation in standard form, you're going to find the x and y intercepts, but then it also asks you to write the equation. Now, for us, when we talk about writing the equation, it's always going to be in slope-intercept form. So write that above in your notes. So you've got that up there. We're only just introducing standard form to you guys right now. The second semester we'll talk more about standard form. So right now, anytime we ask for something as an equation, it'll always be in slope-intercept form. Well, let's go through the process we just went through. Find the x and y intercept. One of the things you're going to notice is anytime that I know how to find my x and my y intercepts, you're going to see me write what the zeros are for each one. So for the x-intercept, the y-coordinate 0. For the y-intercept, the x-coordinate 0. I write that in right away so I know what I'm plugging in. So 3x minus 5y is equal to negative 30. X-intercept y is 0. So I know this negative 5y is going to be gone. So what I have left is a 3x equals negative 30. And I just solved that. Divide both sides by 3. X equals negative 10. Got your x-intercept. Now, solve for your y-intercept. When we look at this, what's going to be 0? Your x-coordinate. So 3 times 0 is 0. So all you have left is just negative 5y equals negative 30. Solve that one. Divide both sides by negative 5. Y equals 6. Alright. So we have those two. But now we have to find the equation of this line written in slope-intercept form. As we've talked about many times, what two things you need to know to write the equation of a line? You need to know the slope, you need to know the y-intercept. Well, you already know the y-intercept. You already found it at 6. But think about this. When we look at what we have over here, there's a lot of different ways to do this problem. But I'm going to show you one because this is going to help you guys out when it comes to your test. When we look at this, this is written in standard form. We want slope-intercept form. Well, couldn't we just solve this for y, just like we did earlier this week? Just add negative 3x to both sides. That's 0, so you get negative 5y equals, remember, mx comes first, so negative 3x minus 30. And then at this point, just divide both sides by negative 5. That's everything by negative 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is just 1y. Now, negative 3 divided by negative 5. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 3 over 5 doesn't reduce, so we just leave it as just 3 over 5. And negative 30 divided by negative 5 is positive 6. Well, now you have your slope, which is 3 over 5. The equation is now y equals 3 over 5x plus 6. You're done. Okay. On the next one, negative 4x plus 7y is equal to 8. Same idea. X and y intercepts. X-intercept. Y is going to be 0. Y-intercept. X will be 0. So as I go through this, find the x-intercept, I'm going to cover up the y, but that's going to be gone. So all I have left is just negative 4x equals 8. So I write that down. Divide both sides by negative 4. X equals negative 2. There's my x-intercept. For the y-intercept, I know that x is going to be 0, so that's going away. So all that's left is just 7y equals 8. 7y equals 8. Divide both sides by 7. Y equals 8 over 7. Now, that's pretty ugly, I understand, and that's fine. It can be ugly on occasion. It doesn't reduce, we just leave it as 8 over 7. So, as we did before, we got to find the equation in slope-intercept form. So let's put this equation, y equals mx plus b, in the correct form. So let's add the opposite of the negative 4x on both sides. The positive 4x. So 4x minus 4x is 0. So you get 7y is equal to and 4x plus 8. After that, let's divide both sides by that coefficient in front of that value y. 7 divided by 7 is just 1y. Now 4 over 7x, and the 8 over 7. Okay, they can't be reduced, so we have to leave them as is. Okay, so y equals 4 over 7x plus 8 over 7. It's like you've learned when we've solved all these equations in slope-intercept form. Alright, so let's move on. The definitions that you have at the top of your page, this is just what we talked about earlier. The x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. When you look at this, it's where the y-coordinate's always 0. That's what it's saying. So you just put an x in there because it's x and whatever the x-coordinate is of the point plus 0 for y. Y-intercept, same thing, except for now, x is always 0, so we're putting a y in there. Okay, for the rest of these notes, it's pretty much mapped out for you. If you look at this, find the x and y intercepts. Given this problem, 2x plus 4y is equal to 8. Well, just fill in x. So you're going to fill in that x is equal to 0. We're going to find y. So if we're doing that, if x is 0, we're finding the y-intercept here. 2 times 0 is 0, it's gone. So you just need to divide both sides by 4. Y equals 2. So you just found your y-intercept. The other one says fill in 0 for y and find the x. So that means you're finding the x-intercept. So for y, it's 0. And looking for x, 4 times 0 is 0, it's gone. So we should divide both sides by 2. X equals 4. Okay? So, x-intercept. When the y-coordinate is 0, the x-coordinate is 4. So that's 0.40. Y-intercept. When the x-coordinate is 0, the y-coordinate is 2. Alright? Now, we talked about what these are. You don't have to fill out B and C. We already talked about what the cover-up method is. Okay. So, go on to D. Plot these points on the graph. So the point 4, 0, 0, 2, draw a line through. Now, it asks you here, what's the slope of the line? Now, here's the thing. I want you to really look at it. What would be an easy way for us to find the slope? Wouldn't it be just easier if we just used change in y over change in x? We went to the point farthest to the left, 2 units down as your change in y, 4 units to the right as your change in x. Negative 2 over 4 is negative 1/2. Then, the other thing it asks for, what's your y-intercept? Well, you already found that. It's over here at 0, 2. Now write the equation. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. All right. And you guys can do that on your paper with no problem. Alright, let's move on. Next one. Negative 3x plus y is equal to 9. Same idea as the last one. So as we look at this, find the x and y intercepts. Well, when x is 0, negative 3 times 0 is 0. Well, look what's left. There's actually nothing to divide here. This is one of the easiest ones to do. I hope there's no coefficients in front of y from now on because that makes it easy. It's just y is equal to 9. Okay? When we look at the next one, when y is 0, so when y is 0, finding the x. Okay, so we're finding the x-intercept. That's 0. We just divide both sides by negative 3. So y is equal to, x is equal to, I apologize, negative 3. Okay? So, as we look at this, x-intercept, when y is 0, x is the negative 3. So that's the x-intercept of negative 3. Y-intercept, when x is 0, y is 9. Which is 0.09. Plot the points. So, 0, 9. Negative 3 is 0. Draw a line through it. It asks you to find the slope of the line. Again, given that, just find change in y over change in x. Times the point farthest to the left, Count up for your change in y, that is 9 units up. Change in x, 3 units to the right. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Slope of your line is 3. Y-intercept, we already found it, 9. So the equation of this line is y is equal to 3x plus 9. Now remember, if you need to write down slope-intercept form, that's something you need to do it. Alright? Last one. This one's a little involved, but let's talk about it for a second. Now before you start writing, kind of watch. Read through the problem. Bob is $40. Bob is $5 bills or $10 bills, or a combination of each. Write an equation that represents Bob's total as a function of the number of $5 and $10 bills. Okay? Let x equal the number of $5 bills and y equal the number of $10 bills. Now, as we look at this, to get the total amount of money, you have to add. Now look what we have here. X is the number of $5 bills. Y is the number of $10 bills. So if we're going to do that, let's add number of X, which is $5 bills, plus the number of Y, $10 bills. That's going to equal 40. Now something we're going to talk about a lot more next semester, but I want to mention it now. 40, that stands for the amount of money. Money has value. All right, your money has value. If your money has value, just answer has value, that means your variables have to have value also. So the value of $5 is, well, 5. So 5 times the number of $5 bills. The value of $10 bills is obviously 10. So you get 5x plus 10y is equal to 40. Now, from there, when y is equal to 0, x is, so what are they looking for here? We're just looking for the x-intercept with the y-coordinate is 0. So, cover-up method, just like we talked about. If y is 0, that's gone. So all you have left is just the 5x equals 40. Divide both sides by 5, x equals 8. So that's the first thing. Next, x is equal to 0, y is equal to, so again, we're finding the y-intercept. So, 10y equals 40. Okay, we're covering up the x because it's 0, so we have just have 10y is equal to 40. Divide both sides by 10, y equals 4. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. X-intercept, what is it? 8, and the y-coordinate is 0. Okay? We're going to skip the meaning for a moment. Y-intercept, 0, and then 4. Okay? So, right now, plot the points on your line. Plot the points 8, 0. Plot the points 0, 4. Draw a line through. So with that in mind, let's kind of talk about this for a second. What does the point 8, 0 mean for this situation? Well, as you look at this, the x stands for the number of $5 bills, y stands for the number 10. So that 8 means I have 8 $5 bills and 0 $10 bills. What does the y-intercept mean? Well, same idea. 0 $5 bills, but I have 4 $10 bills. Well, I want you to think about that when you look at it. If I have 8 $5 bills, how much money do I have? $40. If I have 4 $10 bills, that's supposed to be a 10. My bad, guys. If I have 4 $10 bills, well, that adds up to 40. Okay? So it makes sense for the situation. Now it asks for the slope. Let's figure that out. Again, changing y, we're changing x. So, changing y, 4 units down, changing x, 8 units to the right. So that becomes negative 4 over 8 is negative 1/2. So the equation, y equals negative 1/2 x, and your y-intercept, which is 4. Right. So now, this is the part where some people have some issues. List all possible combinations of $5 and or $10 bills that Bob could have. Now you can sit here and you can go through all of them, and it might take a little while, but I'll tell you. The answer is actually on the graph that you provided. all the answers to what is equal to 40 from this equation are on this line. Like for example, we start off at the very beginning. 0, 4. 0 $5 bills, 4 $10 bills. That's a possibility. Go along this line till you get to another point. There we go. There's 1 at 2, 3. Well, think about that. 2 $5 bills, 3 $10 bills, that adds up to $40. The next one is at 4, 2. 4 $5 bills is 20 plus 2 $10 bills gives you 40. Another one at 6, 1. And then the last one is at 8, 0. We talked about that one earlier. Okay. All right, so when we look at the next part, what is the domain of the situation? We haven't talked about this in a while. And remember, the key word here is domain and situation. Domain is your x-coordinates. All you need is the x-coordinates from each one of those points. So it is 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. That is your domain. Now, the next question says, what is the domain for the function? This is where a lot of people get confused. Remember, situation and function are two totally different things. If I'm talking about the function, I'm talking about that. I don't care about the situation. So this is when we talked about using all real numbers. All real numbers. So every number on there is going to matter. Now, is this data continuous or discrete? Well, we talked about $5 and $10 bills. Can you rip a $10 bill in half and still use it? You can't. So that's why this data is discrete. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other questions about this, come and talk to me. I just want to make sure you guys had this so you could see through the homework assignment that you have. Again, come on in if you need it. Guys, have a great day. Bye.